guys, what are you saying? Let's just go.
You didn't what?
You didn't
Yo,
what?
I didn't know my legs was gonna be exposed.
Maybe
you
do
know,
me too.
like, I thought I was gonna be in a chopper.
Now we're
Yeah,
all
like,
of us.
now I'm
That's all of
here.
us.
Like,
Okay,
yo,
now,
do I have
actually, Mickey is
I can't
practicing
cover
the,
my
he's
eyes.
covering the
I
knees,
covered my eyes.
head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Knees and oys.
Yeah, I see.
Nah, I'm conscious also.
Nah, it's fine, but it's like 30,000 degrees or so.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Calm.
Hello everyone, we here again.
Oh yeah, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Yes.
I don't even know which camera to look at.
So
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
lie.
yeah,
your
yeah.
camera is here, you know,
Is that
yeah.
okay?
the
Each
setup is so
one of you.
advanced.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
oh.
yeah.
Trouwens,
It's like
you know,
I'm like waiting for a hazer. You look at JP like.
Nah, don't worry. The AI does do that. Don't worry.
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah, it's sitting on this chair.
You know?
our producer editor is very lazy,
Yo,
but he's
nah.
proud to be.
I see.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
Mm.
we are here
Salam
today
GPT.
with SalaamGPT, yo. That's wild. Just thought it was wild, yo. The SalaamGPT is from
SalaamGPT is hilarious.
crazy. So we have two very special guests with us today. You do recognize them because they like the OGs in this space, man. You know.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not gonna lie. This podcast.
You turned 30 this year, now you're super OG.
Oh, yeah. This podcast was born out of the podcast that I attended, which is theirs. This is
You
gave birth to me. Yes.
Pause!
So you give birth to lighties, they give birth to podcasts.
They birthed the podcast. Owen.
And the C is for conceived.
You know what I mean? Gen conceived. Fuck my life. That was good. Nah, that's a good one. Yo, because people will ask, what does it mean? Now you can say Gen conceived.
Whoa.
Salam.
Sir, you the only one that's
Oh,
conceiving
we
here.
don't need the type of advertising.
Yeah.
Advertising.
Random means reaching out.
Yeah, yo.
Of course, whoa.
Hey, JP, we need help with our company. We're going to get started.
A young startup.
Away, putting the loop.
I'd like to attend it. Tweet me on the casting couch.
On the casting couch, man.
Sorry.
Fucking hell.
Okay, wait,
So
calm
welcome.
down.
Yeah, let's just get the welcome out of the way.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
JP and Rizaan is with us today. This is fucking crazy for me personally because, you know, I'm a big fan of your show. Been there once. Will be there again. I almost said that on the first episode. It was like, what, a year ago? I will come back. So now we brought them here. I specifically created a show to have them on our show. So you can get to know them. Because you don't get to know who they are on their show. They just interview guests most. They get we get here and there, so a solo episode. No, here and there.
Snippet.
So a little bit. So
we're in the principal's office.
All I'm hearing is my report card. I don't talk about
behavior this
myself. And again,
you give back on
like
the show.
this man setting my New Year's resolutions in front of me. Talk about myself.
But yeah, so thank you so much for coming out, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
In the
Fuck,
heat.
man. Yeah, it's
Appreciate
fucking-
that, yo.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be here.
It's your house.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So yeah, so first off, like, fuck, where do we start, man, bro? Like,
You
there was-
have.
Nah, wait, there was so
That
there
man had
was
my whole
so much-
laptop.
Close the app, man.
Close the app.
Close the app, he got nervous. He closed the app.
I'm starstruck, man. You know, the last time we spoke, you guys weren't as famous now. Remember the same man now had on the show?
Calm down with famous, bro.
Wait,
Don't just throw that
famous.
word out there. sir.
Listen, on your show, you have a segment called Say Man Now. The one that stood out for me on our show was Say Man Now, we get famous.
Yes.
That was the one. and what happened? Who did you have on your show? Luiso Gola. So that's a famous
Say
South
now you
African
famous
comedian. Now you're almost famous. That Say Man Now came to fruition. Tell me I'm wrong.
The same man as working like the
Yeah.
Again, what would you consider famous? So
We like E-listers.
So like yeah, so like I
A, B, C, D, E. That's us.
Now you see listers must
so like for me, I don't think that we are on that level, nor on any other content creator in the Western Cape. I think for us, what we have different is that you only really find us on one platform. So like and TikTok being most of the pushing out. So a lot of the things that you see about us is linked to the podcast. Like a lot of other content creators do multiple things, right?
Yeah.
And they and that's because that's what they do, and they need to do multiple things in order to get the nice views. But I think for me, like
I clocked. He's basically trying to say we don't actually do this. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
by the way,
this is a side, you guys.
by the way, for us, it's
for
not
fun.
It's not actually. Like, you know what
can
I'm
I
saying?
finish? So what I'm trying to say is that
Now I finished, boy.
What is the hand movement?
what we
That's
what
she
we
said.
wanted to do and set out to do is create a space,
Calm
right?
down.
As a consequence of that,
Yes.
we've had more eyeballs.
Okay.
Where I think it's different in other areas or other content creation where they want the eyeballs.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I think for me I see that as different.
No, I see that.
But Rizaan, go tell them what to say.
I will
You
say
tell
this.
us.
I will say this. Myself and JP have different interactions outside of like the studio and stuff
Yes,
like that.
yes,
You know
yes,
what I'm saying? JP's less recognizable than me.
Which I appreciate.
So you're saying
Which
you're
he
more
actually-
famous. So you're saying you're more famous. I'm
So-
joking. I'm
Yes.
No,
Yes,
like
yes.
if like
Man's Instagram blew up. Man's Instagram is crazy now.
no, okay. So for example, I also belong to a poetry community, man. So I am actually putting myself out there.
You guys do
Okay.
slam
Right?
poetry.
Exactly.
Slam poetry.
Or spoken word.
Yelling.
Lord.
Waving.
Cynthia.
Jesus died for our Cynthias.
But
Oh.
like say we are together, then people recognize us immediately. Like
Okay.
then it's like, oh yeah.
That's
That's
those
the
guys.
our apple and pear. It's choka and copper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But like if I'm alone and then like if I'm in like say I'm at like a Markham's or Truworths, whatever the case, like
Yeah.
it's like a casual store, and then someone will be next to me like, sorry, oh you like a comedian?
They know you from somewhere.
They
just
know
can't
me from
place.
somewhere,
Yeah.
but the minute we're together, it's like
That's you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But I do appreciate the way he said like we're on one platform because everyone knows us as like, oh, you guys are from TikTok. We want to be like YouTube. We want to be the podcast. But like, oh, you guys are on TikTok. I saw you on TikTok. That's like,
Does that happen though? I thought people recognize you because of your YouTube because I mean
No,
that's
no,
where the
TikTok.
entire content is. I mean, okay, TikTok's the funnel, right? So I can appreciate what you're saying about that because we're also not content creators. You know, we podcasters. That's the difference, right?
Ooh, okay.
Because a content creator is someone that does different niches of content, right? Whereas our podcast has different styles.
Yeah.
Like for example, we talk about fatherhood, we talk about husbandhood because that we both are fathers and husbands. You know, we talk about current affairs. Most of our topics are around current affairs, like BRICS, the wars happening in the world. You know, that type of things. We try to enlighten people on that because, like, yeah, it's hard because YouTube is a very censored platform if you talk about certain things like that. But podcasting and content creating is two different things. Like for example, same like you, JP. Yeah, I think it's not on any social media. I have my own niche on same like you. Like I have a TikTok where I make marriage skits, colored marriage skits. Like it's just is what it is. And then the podcast is completely different. People actually say, oh, he's actually intellectual. Whereas my TikTok, it's like, this bruh's dumb. You know what I mean? Like, this is a lighty, this bruh. But on the podcast, it's more
So
like,
the thing is, it's more. Your content itself is more catered for the platform. It's not for content creation, but it's more about the platform itself.
Exactly.
And
We
it
want
goes
to
back
be
to
a
why we
platform.
created the podcast, in my opinion.
That I was about to ask that.
So the whole reasoning is that I didn't find enough voices that sounded like me. I didn't find enough spaces that invited people that looked like me. And I think and I was always waiting for someone to do it. Like, because I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be the person in front talking and be the one saying, hey, say my now. I didn't want to be that guy. But it got to a point where I was wanting it so much that I just eventually did it. And unfortunately, it meant that I needed to be there in that spot. But luckily, we got the amazing Rizaan to eventually come
Hey,
in.
I was
and
actually
take
going
over.
to ask about that because from my understanding, you started in 2021, right?
Mm.
And then I think 11 episodes in. Was it 11?
A
11?
few.
Yeah.
Could have been.
The exact number.
I'll tell you. I know. I did my research.
Exactly.
I'll tell you right now. Episode 11,
Yeah.
December 2021, your episode 8, where you came on as a guest, right? So how
You have to
did
take
you
the
go
time
from
also.
being a gay? Yeah, bro. Like episode 11. My notes is good.
At
So-
3 o'clock.
You can't ask me. You need to ask him
So,
this
so,
question.
so that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Like, how did you figure out that you want Rizaan to come on as a guest, and then later on, kind of transition him into a resident guest, and then only after my episode promote him to co-host as per the slide.
Well, great research. I think for me,
Okay, that's sticky as fuck. bro.
the first patch was, as much as I appreciate Rizaan was a part of a series of guests. It
Yes.
wasn't the only one.
Of course.
But because Rizaan, like as soon as we started it, Rizaan was so interactive in the platform and wanting it to do well that he was just naturally drawn to the platform itself.
Okay.
So Rizaan was part of a series of guests. With the
Rizaan didn't know
co-host,
that at the time.
with the with the co-host.
No. It's, you see, like, so the characterization is wild. Listen, JP's actually my friend.
I was gonna get
like,
you there. Don't
no,
worry.
because I sound almost like I'm just like a groupie or something. JP's actually my brother.
So, Brasmus.
And yes, and so we actually had this thing where we would like video call every second Monday. Because JP used to like mentor me and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And so with that, I would give him feedback on his podcast.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
And then after a while, like he probably got tired of it. Like, just fucking come on.
What
Just-
if, yeah,
You
all
know,
the
like
stuff
when
you're
your
telling
notes
me,
look
come
like
do it.
that, like why don't you just come and do something?
Just like,
and then
say, tip it out the
don't tip
field.
it,
Just come.
And so, but Rizaan, well, you can probably tell we have great energy together. So I always knew that would translate well. But what was nice was when we eventually got to that point and he got comfortable, we started bouncing. It just got better. And the co-host thing was him stopping us the whole time and kept saying, "It's your podcast. It's your podcast. It's JP's podcast. My name's not on the thumbnail." The first thing I told Paul to do was put his name on that thumbnail.
Yeah, because
So that he can be not just my
You
podcast.
can stop saying
'Cause
it's
he
your
kept throwing
podcast.
it in my face as if I was the one that's stopping him from being part of the podcast.
I see the bios now, lifelong friends, JP and Rizaan.
Nah,
It
because we
wasn't
went to
that before.
primary school together.
True,
That's what
boy.
I'm saying, right?
Like we found a picture the other day that was
Raw.
like
Quality people.
If
Quality
you want
people.
the
Yes. In the maroon blazers.
yeah, you want the people
Tangy.
to see it, you can send it to us. We can put it.
we'll give it to
I
you.
mean,
What I
like
mean,
it is on social
yeah,
media.
yeah.
We'll
Like
put it on the
it's
screen.
like I mean about like it's like me squished down.
Yeah,
Like-
I was taller than him.
And Rizaan was like, but again, looking as if he was a in
Senior.
charge,
Yeah.
senior.
Telling
Big
you,
boy.
it's your picture.
It's your
Raw.
picture. I'm just appearing on this picture.
This is nice.
I mean,
I feel like this is nice. This is
You'll have your
But
chance
Rizaan,
to-
how did you feel about being promoted to co-host?
promotion.
crazy. That's fair. Nah, so I think like this particular space suits me, man.
Yes.
Like being just a talking head, like just to talk nonsense and have fun. Like it just suits me. And I took to it like what's a duck to water, if you will. And it just made sense, man. Myself and JP, like of all my friends, this balance works because JP irritates me enough. Seems it like it's just like a
Just to
right
make
Get you to that point.
percentage of
Yeah.
irritation. You know what I'm saying? But like it's also so here's the thing now. Like JP is away game form. Like if we like for example like today, if we're on the radio, if we guest JP star of the show, star of the show.
But at home.
Hey, he's home form.
Yes.
Like
I
then
see
it's
that.
like and he's like nah, Lyle's there, Lyle can carry. He's comfortable, man.
I see
He's
that.
too
yeah.
He's comfortable.
Ah.
But yeah, so and that's the other thing also is that Lyle, our producer or director, whatever,
Shout
he's
out.
my friend. Like he's actually
Okay.
before he was JP's friend, he was my friend. We studied together, and that also sort of just made everything make sense. The
So
fact that it's now just like you know,
It's not
saying-
strangers that's coming into the picture.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. That's the other thing is that we're super lucky that there's 4 of us, and all of us like each other. Number one.
Yeah.
All of us are kind of committed to this. I do think that like what we set out to be, what we were, and what we are just different things at this point in time. It's It's
Because Rizaan we chatted about that objective, like
Yes.
creating
Yeah.
a platform, and the second thing that we sat in Mug and Bean back in 2021, talking about I would like, or I wanted at the time, that the podcast inspires someone else to do something with their life.
Exactly.
Because a lot of the things that we chat about isn't discussions that happened in every home.
Of course.
Because of the fact sometimes we feel like this family is rich or this family knows everything, but it's because they have it in their circle and talk about things.
Communicate, yeah.
So for me, it was to take that conversation, put it on a platform as a resource for every colored boy to go and look at and think, oh, I'm going through this thing. Is there another person that looks like me that's been through it? And it was moving that conversation from just households to an open thing. And Rizaan pointed out that in our current state, we've inspired a lot more people.
I mean,
to do these things. And that's why the feeling now we are now is that the aims that we set out to do the podcast for is somewhat achieved. So what do we want the podcast to be now?
It's evolved.
And like there's such a nuanced point is that like we can identify that there's colors with a C and colors with a K.
Colours.
Please explain.
Elaborate.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's people that are mixed race and people that are colored.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we like, if we're being honest with ourselves, we set out to speak to colours with a K or colours with a C, whatever the case may be. We didn't actually set out to speak to mixed race people. Okay. We wanted to bridge that gap between like the because colored people, for example, they are sort of stuck in their ways. They're stuck in their they like their tradition. They like their habits. They like their tradition. Like every year it's Clifton at the end of the year.
Every Saturday, Sunday, whatever. Now we're going to Clifton.
We wanted to raise the ceiling of the outlook. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, but after a while, I realized that it isn't necessarily easy for us to then tap into that anymore because we now speak to the broader audience. So now our current goal is to actually no. Let's take it a step back. Why do we have this distinction between coloreds, blacks, whites? What is actually the big unifier? So how do we bring everyone together? You know, that's where we're at right now. We actually trying to, because the C is no longer about Cape colored. The C is for country. The C is for community.
That's trippy.
Wow.
Now
This was for Conceive. Yo, look at you now take me for a loop.
The season changes.
Yo, C is for crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So that's so it really.
Wait, you remember that advert? P is for policeman.
No, actually, no.
That was a yogurt advert, me bro. What? Yo, fuck.
I'll check it out.
Yeah,
When the algorithm works, because you mentioned it, I'm gonna see it.
It's gonna come now.
Google's
Why think this was real?
No way.
YouTube ads is gonna come up there, bro.
Bruh, that's fucking crazy. That's actually wild because, like, you know, most people think, like, I remember when I went on your show, that was before you did the rebranding, if you will, right? You know, if I look at it like, because this is the rebranding what you're talking about. It is that. The way you change your objective. Because if I talk about our show, like, I had the opinion, right?
Yeah.
This is the opinion 2.0, means version 2, right?
Yeah.
And how this podcast
Did you
came
resolve
about.
that issue with that guy?
Why?
Okay.
Let him cook.
I'm gonna talk about that. We'll get to
just
that.
throwing the ingredients in. He's like,
He
here's another
wanted that
ingredient.
season
Don't you know?
1 energy, maybe.
Yo, okay, now wait, we'll rewind in a second. But like the objective of this podcast was to literally, you know, not just share our opinion, but to hear other people's opinion on fact.
Okay.
That's the trip. So the podcast is called the Opinion 2.0, meaning version 2, but we also two guys with one opinion because we share the same things. Our thoughts are the same. But like what the crazy thing about it is if you look at where we started versus where we are now, because it's our third season, right? We only done, this will be our 22nd episode? 32nd episode. My bad. 31st episode. Where the fuck are we? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it's one of those episodes, like after 30.
It's probably like the 32nd video, but the 31st episode. Like one of those types.
Nah,
of
each video is an episode.
Yeah, we don't.
No, because I know you guys did episode 00, man.
Nah.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, that's the prequel. Oh yeah, that was it's only on Rumble though, because we're trying to get out Rumble, you know, because we eventually want to move away from like YouTube because
so we can speak anything and everything basically.
But also anyway, so if you look at the way our podcast also evolved, it went from us just, you know, talking about opinions on things like, you know, ADHD and other mental health crises and, you know, roles in the household, X1Z, to actually fatherhood, you know, and current affairs. Because like our biggest episode where we got the most traction or most people getting impacted was the 2 episodes where we spoke to our friend Zach, and he speaks about how he became Muslim. And about 4 people reached out to us to say because of that episode they actually took the step to become Muslim.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, for us that's a big win. That's a crazy
that's
win,
a
right?
dub.
It's like, hey, like whoa. And then also the BRICS episode, people were like, I didn't know what the fuck's BRICS was until this episode. I'm like, yeah, but this is the money we got. This is what the war's about. This is where BRICS comes in. This is like, and they're like, what? They're like, these are the countries joining BRICS. And they're like, what? What is BRICS? The population, how it actually impacts the future of South Africa for our children and for our grandchildren. Like, it's crazy. We don't look at that. So then we realized, wait, we need to change the way we give information to people because we're not just talking to one group of people anymore.
That's
You know?
important.
And that's the same thing you guys did. So the question I want to ask is, how do you balance your podcast with your personal lives? I know you're a dad. You mentioned you are still... Oh, you're not single anymore, right? Kinda? Because on our episode, Single Like a Pringle was moving.
So yeah, I'll take that one. So
I'm just...
Legally, I'm single, bro.
Okay.
Like if I collect the document.
I remember. Yeah, but
But there's somebody that wouldn't appreciate it.
okay, that person, go watch the episode where I was on.
Who likes a certain chip? That's
Episode 47 or 37 of your podcast.
You have the
I was
dockets,
there.
but
I was
That's
there.
crazy.
And the words Rizaan used on that day was like, I'm single like a Pringle.
I've seen that.
That-
I know that.
How's that full circle? Now you're the one that likes.
Wow.
That's what I'm
Hey,
on about. That's what
that
I'm
is
on about.
crazy though.
That was his words.
I
That's-
want to
how's
look at
those
this
Pringles
camera and
tasting?
say, there's a conversation to said off camera.
Uh,
Anyway,
No.
answer the question. How do we balance
So
the
how do you
podcast and
balance
our
Rizaan
personal
loves
lives?
Pringles.
I actually, you know what's crazy? I actually don't. I don't like maize chips, man. I prefer corn chips
Corn chips.
or potato chips.
So you're not a knick-knack guy.
So okay, knickknacks is different.
Are you
That's it,
even
that's-
colored?
Wow.
Bruh. Because Kiki,
what
all
I
the
mean-
chips you ate as a life
No,
is
no.
maize
Maize.
chips.
No.
That's
What
fair.
sorry. What I mean is like Pringles and Simba.
Oh.
Okay.
That
I get you.
style. Now I don't
Yeah,
like.
Pringles is a
But-
bit
but-
too much, man.
But like, bro, when the price is right, bro.
Man's colored. Nah, man's colored.
When the price is right. A packet of cheaper, packet of bigger. Come on now, dog.
That's what's the OGs.
That's
You was like, bigger on bread, Owens. Bigger on bread. Sure.
Take the knickknacks now with your 2-minute noodles. Keep for that crunch, the textural change.
That's the one.
Must be
to keep it
cheese.
crunch.
I'm so colored, bro.
Fuck, man.
So balancing.
Yeah.
The balance.
Back to the point.
For me at least, it's about setting schedules. I think it's easier to balance when you know the times that you're going to do it and how long. And communicating, at least for me, to my significant other,
Authorities.
about
Yeah, we call
How
them the authorities.
how it's going to work. I think for me,
Executive function.
You know?
for me, it's about making sure that we maximize that time that we do record. So like we take block sessions and we try and do as much as we can to save us time. Because I mean, with uploads, the biggest thing is consistency.
Yeah.
So if you can keep the same number of repetitions in how you upload, the algorithm starts working in your favor.
Yes.
Things start working in your
Of
favor.
course, of course.
So if you can keep consistency up, the schedule then needs to be built around how you maintain that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, it's just about communication, the main thing.
Taking notes.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm taking, in my ear, taking notes.
So I have a kind of a different outlook for me that like the podcast and my personal life isn't really like in conflict
Okay.
because this isn't a job for us, or for me at least. It's not a job. Alhamdulillah, now we're getting like sponsorships here and there where there's money coming in.
Alhamdulillah,
But
nice.
for the most part, like there's an opportunity to spend time with JB, spend time with Lars, spend time with Paul, literally just like chat, to learn about these stories that people come and share. Like it's honestly because your work life is the thing that you need an escape from. The podcast you don't actually. Like I don't need an escape from the pod. I don't need to separate that. That's like an actually, you know what I'm saying?
That's crazy, no?
'Cause
Because that's what we do too. Like
Exactly.
the podcast is our escape from our families.
Oh, heck.
Whoa.
Don't owl for that one.
Whoa.
I said it.
Brother, pause.
Nah,
Are we
okay.
allowed to disclaimer on there?
Aware
Yeah,
the views
views
expressed.
We have a moose disclaimer.
No, but just
no,
like
no.
the audio one for the people that's listening. The music is by Mickey in that round.
it's-
Was
it's-
strictly him going road.
Okay, let me rewind.
Forgive him for his stress. courses, bro.
I couldn't give 2 fucks. Shoot me if you want.
Okay.
But let me say it like this. I say it like that, but also
Yeah, say it with your chest,
let
apparently.
me say it like this. when we film, right? When we film, it's the time we spend together. Other than that, we don't communicate unless we like chatting, which is rare, right? Or we're on the phone, whatever. But this is how this is the time we spend together, the 3 of us. This is our friendship circle. So
Okay.
this is when on my birthday we did go braai. Why didn't we vlog that? It would have been fun. We fought a baboon. Yeah, we had a fight with a baboon, the 3 of us. It was fun.
If you had to vlog it, it would have actually been a job.
Yeah, but true.
Yeah.
True.
If you had to vlog it, it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been time with friends if you had to vlog it. Just that's why you didn't.
Okay, sure,
Exactly.
makes sense. But yeah, so the podcast isn't something we do for like employment. It's something we
Yeah.
do as like taking our shoes off, relaxing.
So
And okay, cool, put the camera on. Because in the beginning it was like, okay, now we need to start and this time. And now we're just like, we're filming that day. Just arrange X, Y, and Z. Okay, cool, no stress. Come film, no stress. That's fine.
So just to sort of put the cap, and I was saying, in a way, it is still part of our personal life. Because if we link up for games night, his wife is on my case. You know, I said, oh, that's work wife. I'm apparently.
But also, that does happen to you too, right? That happens to us also, bro. But you always ask me,
Yeah.
like, how's your boyfriend?
You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, Rizaan has a Rizaan's friends with my wife. I'm just
Love
there.
Kelly.
like
she's
I'm
so
when
good.
they together they chat more than me and Rizaan. So that's why I think she feels somewhat betrayed by the way his relationship with me is strong.
And I get that now. Actually,
Like,
I do.
So I understand that when
valid,
when they in the same space, then she goes at him. Not because it's taking me away from her. It's the fact that I am now somewhat closer.
How dare
How
I?
dare him allow that to happen? So
And it's also like that with exactly, and it's like that with like a multitude of our friends. That sort of like there's a Ridwan, there's a you know what I'm saying.
Been through.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, I'm the father.
so this is actually and also like also when we in their company they'll sort of bring up some stuff about the podcast or whatever. So right now we are very fortunate that it's not actually a job yet. Like we are, I guess, inshallah we get in there.
I was about to ask you.
But for now, as it is, it's not. The only person whose job it is Lau. That's why he does the best work.
yeah.
Shout out Lau.
Yeah, now you just heard it. That's your job.
That's the only person.
No slacking.
Man gets
slacking.
paid. So
He actually
he
gets paid.
actually
Yeah,
gets
he
paid.
actually
So makes sense.
Don't worry. Don't worry. You know, you get paid without presents for now, my friend.
You'll still be invited to the next
You
braai.
saying do this for Fisabilillah,
You will never see Imran ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's the price you pay.
He wants that. So our guy doesn't want to even be seen or heard. Which I can appreciate, you know.
Yeah,
You know,
I
so
mean,
it's fine.
everyone
It's
plays
fine.
their roles.
But yeah, look, it is what it is. Like, that's interesting because, like, we also sometimes we'll talk about so many things, but we'll always come back to, we should talk about that on the pod. We should talk about that on the pod. No, it's crazy. Yeah, fuck. Bleep, yeah.
I'll sometimes, because I'm like that, man. I will say something that's like, oh, that's a take. Fuck, that's a take. You know what I'm saying? I wish you said that on the pod, especially when we had games night. Especially with friends. So some of those conversations are saucy.
Yeah.
Some of the things are crazy.
That
Yeah.
happens. That happens a lot.
Because especially like when you get into that like war in Gaza, the current election cycle, the takes.
Bro.
The takes. And I imagine that on the list is some tea there. You know? I'm curious to see like what's on the
Yeah,
list.
you need to
That's
go.
what I was about. Working through.
like you see that there's so, and this is what I've learned is from the content I digest, that certain things cannot be said on YouTube.
Okay.
And it's dangerous. Like, and also, you know, because of our lives outside of you know, our podcast, you know, certain entities that are around us, we can't speak about certain things. It just is what it is. So we'd like to, but we can't.
So here's the thing, man. Like, specifically on air, yes. Like, but sometimes when you speak with friends, man, you have these sort of nuanced takes that is actually something worth mentioning, man. Like, for example, now, this is a very, very like off, like
Do
no
the
one's
things.
expecting what I'm about to say. You know what I'm
Let's
saying?
go, I'm ready.
So psychology, for example, now
Yes.
is based off, I think, DSM-5 or DSM-6. It's like it's this whole process that came from Sir Daddy Freud, right? Right.
Yeah.
But none of those things apply to the people of Gaza.
Yeah, of course.
They like the things that they go through. The psychology books will have to be rewritten,
Yeah, of course.
and that's something that you can actually just mention, man. Like we almost
Yeah,
like
look, we spoke about it last week. Like, we spoke about the court case in our South Africa. Like, what people don't, and we spoke, like, literally, like, if you're watching this now and you watched last week's episode, you'll know. The fact of the matter is that the people that stood up to Israel on behalf of the Palestinians in the court were conditioned by the same thing that is conditioning them, but
Yeah.
obviously over lesser extent.
yeah.
Because if you look at the lawyers on that panel, they all are different skin colors, and
Yeah.
they all grew up during apartheid, or they got their studies done just on the brink of apartheid being
Yeah.
abolished. So there's also rumors around who the originators of apartheid were, but that's something we can't speak about on YouTube. You get what I'm saying? And we can talk about off camera, but like,
But remember,
you.
you don't. Yeah, you don't need to have that conversation. But what you can do is give the nugget for someone else.
There
No,
we
of
go.
find.
So
So
plant the
so
seed.
so
Plant the seed.
plant the seed, because sometimes the problem is, and like I mentioned earlier, we're not having that discussion,
Yeah.
whether it's on camera or off camera, and that's scary.
We
Because
should
you're
be.
living
People
in a
don't talk
world
about
where
it,
you
yeah.
where you're not having
Bruh,
a
there's so much
discussion on that.
ignorance going on, man, bro.
And
It's
and I
crazy.
mean the idea is that even let's say you have a wild take. I'd rather give a wild take for someone that I know that can tell me, but JP, why do you think that way?
Here we
Yeah.
go.
And
Yeah.
walk back. Okay, I said this, but I think this.
But cancel culture is
Why?
a real thing, man.
Yeah,
So
but
the thing-
but internet discord is non-existent. You have to take a position on the
It's
internet.
again you with Discord and
I
Discord.
said sorry, discourse. Discourse.
I was gonna say, wait, Discord is a platform that we all
Internet
agree
discourse.
on.
I made the same mistake.
We made the same thing in the meeting we had on Thursday. JP Discord is like a
Hey.
app, a platform.
We love
It's the
Discord.
same discourse. Like on the internet, you can't have the debate. You need to take a position.
Of course.
So this is okay. This is my pushback. Say it anyway. Like, if you're gonna get cancelled,
Yeah,
you're gonna
man.
get cancelled. If you're gonna get backlash, you're gonna back. Say it anyway, because tides turn.
No, true.
Like, what is acceptable now? Like, the fact that we can say that Israel is wrong. We couldn't have said.
We can't say
we-
now because of the court case.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Previously we couldn't. So the
Yeah.
tides. So that's why I'm like, you like, if you have the spicy take, say it, bro. Risk it.
Express your
You,
opinion.
you know what I'm saying? Risk it because,
That is the opinion after all.
and like even like, because I've said some crazy things on the Gen Z podcast. I said like I don't like Gatsby's, maybe.
Listen, wait.
Red
Whoa,
flag.
whoa, whoa.
You know what I'm
whoa,
saying?
whoa.
I've
Can we just pause there quickly because I heard how hard Emo's head nodded for that. We've spoken
You
about
heard.
Yeah, it's
this.
The
oh,
wait-
you saw
the
like
waiter-
Gatsby's overrated
the-
vibe, base. Is
No,
that
no,
where you at? Oh,
nodded,
oh.
no.
Oh, he
Because-
shook his
Yeah,
head.
he shook his head. I was
Oh,
like,
he
sorry,
shook his
nodded
head.
is down.
Oh,
my bad,
shit.
my bad.
Okay,
But
sorry.
let me say
So
this.
the weight was just
We spoke. I spoke. I spoke. At one point, I was chatting to Tyler Pinks about
Oh,
this,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because
Why did my mind go just?
Make me
she wanted to crack.
Oh,
I was like,
oh, yeah, now
I was like,
he's
now I
just
chatted to
pool,
Ty- yeah,
pool,
like,
man.
hey.
Man's talking to Grammy.
Okay, Tyler, if you see, this is the fourth time we shout.
Oh wow, hectic.
We spoke about you with Mr. Confessions. We spoke about you on last week's episode. We need a Grammy. I know you
Yo.
bring a car with Chris Brown, but shout us out there, man.
Yeah.
It's wild.
leagues,
It's the
bro.
opinion.
Leagues.
It's the
That's
opinion.
We don't care. We take shots here. No, we take shots.
Anyway, so
But
Pinks. You spoke
So I was
Yeah,
speaking
yeah,
to
yeah.
Pinks about it, and like you were saying, you was actually like offended by that.
Oh, yeah.
Like actually offended.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that is wild, but I can also get it because like I'm conditioned to like Gatsby because I grew up eating it. You know what I mean? But now also I ate it too much at one point where I despised it. And now you're on the search for a liquor Gatsby, and then you can't find a liquor Gatsby, then you're just like, fuck Gatsby's, I'm gonna get a chip roll instead. But a Gatsby's just a chip roll anyway.
So sorry, I'm dominating the conversation, brother. So here's the thing. Is that like the fact that I said it opens it up now to number one, people to get offended. Like, is this bloody dick just? And then there's other people like, actually, he's right.
You know? It's not that great.
Why did you do it? Why did you? Actually, he's right.
Speak on it, Rizaan.
Yes, Rizzo.
And then, but then also, it also invites but why, number one, why don't you like Gatsby's? And also, why am I offended by the fact that this brother doesn't like Gatsby's?
Yeah.
And those are conversations just opens up. Because I'll tell you, you actually mentioned it. I had it too much.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just like, I can't be asked,
The
bro.
appeal is not there anymore.
And now it's like it's also admin because you need brasse to eat the Gatsby. And don't fucking tell me, you can eat it over 2 days. That's the problem. I used to eat it over 2 days, 3 days, bro. Like just Gatsby.
Your rating of Gatsby's valid.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Box valid.
You
But
gave
I'm
him the
not gonna-
certification.
However, I'm not gonna tell you Gatsby tastes cock.
No way.
No, that's flagrant.
Yeah.
That's there you lying, me, bro.
Yeah.
That's cap. So I'm gonna tell you I don't like it, and then these are my reasons. But what's interesting is that when people take offense, they're like, why do we care about the Gatsby so much?
Yeah.
Like it's
Why does somebody
sacred.
else's opinion affect you?
Exactly.
With a Gatsby?
And that's
doesn't
the
mean-
conversation. That's the
Doesn't mean
liquor
you don't
thing.
have to like Gatsby's.
You know what I'm
can still
saying?
love the Gatsby. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's the conversation.
That's crazy.
That's the
yeah,
Man,
conversation.
just thinking now, do
Man,
I want to have a Gatsby or not?
The crazy thing is like, what did you study?
I studied science.
Okay, that's why you think the way
Just
you do.
science in general, like general science, like
Did you do psychology in it? But
No.
You're making the Powerpuff Girls general science.
yeah,
Sugar spikes and
Not
everything
around
nice.
shit, man.
So I'll say this. I consume a lot of media.
okay.
And I talk a lot.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So I can't explain the way I think. Probably anxiety.
Yeah, let's shift the conversation here. So you studied science. That's great. So we'll dive into that for a second. But JP, what did you study and what do you do now outside of being a dad, husband, and podcasting?
So I sleep.
What most part?
But-
Sleep is the dog.
When you get the chance.
So I studied BCom accounting.
Okay.
Did honors in accounting. Did articles. So
Okay.
qualified chartered accountant.
Oh, fun.
And now I work as a finance manager for a
Wait,
US-based
You
company.
manage people.
Yes, 3. It's tough.
That's
We had a whole
fun.
conversation on management
That's
as
not
well.
fun.
I think I may have watched snippets of that episode because I think
action to manage people.
managing
interesting.
people is rough, bro.
Yeah.
I was also
It's-
a manager, so
It's a rough. The thing is, I was a manager at my previous job, but I was 18 and I was managing 30-year-olds.
Yeah,
So,
it's not-
that's
not-
tough.
that's
But management of people, it's like, but how aren't you 30? Why are you acting like 15 years old?
Yeah.
It's not
You know
for
what I mean?
everyone.
So it's
So
like,
I think it
Oh.
all depends on what you want in your career.
it's crazy.
Unfortunately, if you do try to attack a certain level or want to reach a certain point, managing people is inevitable.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, of
So it's a skill you need to learn and sometimes embrace. How you manage people is a different thing.
That's
That's the
And-
skill.
and That's
That's the skill.
Yeah, there's different management
because
styles
in
and so on as
in
well.
my case, I work remotely, so
Oh, fun.
it's tough in the sense that I can't see what you're doing every single day, right? The only way I can measure your performance is your output.
It's your output.
So
And for some people that's difficult because if your output is not matching what is being done, then
Yeah.
you have nothing to stand on. Whereas other people that's doing in the office, doing all the things nice, keeping the office environment, the output isn't exactly the measure of what they do to the company
Yeah.
necessarily because they're good for the company.
Yes.
They need to be there to create that sort of culture, and that is also needed.
Yeah.
But just know that is the main function.
But that
you-
can't be measured per se as
as a
per-
remote.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
That's
yeah.
a problem.
Managing people stuff, bro. Like, I'm gonna leave it there, cause
Yeah.
like how you manage is obviously that's a different. But like in general, like managing people is one of those things where you have to understand different sets of personalities and how to accommodate the one personality, but not seem as if you're favoring that personality. So like I think when I'm older, I'll be able to manage people better because at a younger age, it's hard to multitask like that.
One of the best things about management is seeing someone want something on their own and like almost opening the way for them to do that.
Yeah.
That is the
Growth and
best kind. That's the best kind of management. But just as I said it, that person is still wanted on their own.
Yeah.
I can't want that for you. What my job is to provide the pathway to get there.
Yeah.
You
But
can
if you
guide
don't
and
want it,
facilitate the-
if you don't want it,
the
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like it is tough, but it's super rewarding in that way.
Yeah. Oh. And you, sir?
Sciences.
Everybody just bleed
Yeah,
out on
like
managing
you-
people right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
It's like,
Yo,
So
bro.
Rizaan managed more people than I
Yeah,
did.
no, I managed a
He came
moose
out.
lot of people. I was ops manager and a project manager, so I managed a moose lot of people.
oh.
But in terms of science, because I feel like that's the question.
Yeah, let's talk about what you studied
Yes,
and how you
yeah.
applied that into
Yeah,
what you're doing now.
so I did like anatomy, physiology studies,
Okay.
and specialized in my honors into virology, so viruses.
Ooh.
And the technique that I learned was molecular biology.
Wait. What was your take on COVID then?
So that was the virus that I studied in 2016, coronavirus. Yeah, that's
Oh shit! Okay, let's talk about that.
so my
Let's go.
so my super at the time, he was like of the South African cohort, whatever, that did the 2002 epidemic in it's called SARS, South Asian Respiratory Syndrome. That was
Okay.
like in 2002.
Oh, that's where the name comes
Then
from. Okay.
then when I was third year, a German lab came over and spoke about the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, MERS, which is like the next epidemic basically,
Seen that.
and that inspired me to want to do that, I want to specialize in virology, because I wanted to be an epidemiologist, like I wanted to study diseases and study
Yes.
epidemics and hopefully like come up with vaccines and cures. That's like the big dream.
Save the world, your voice.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
World's in
grandiose.
crisis. We need Rizaan.
The president, they have a special phone. Phone the Rizaan. Yes, you.
CDC levels. That's
You
just
know?
me, yeah.
You the president shop. You come. You get out of your call. People come in suits. You like, okay, go there, go there, go there. I'm that guy.
Crazy.
That was you.
Crazy.
Superhero. Vibes.
Anyway, so then
Is your cape me, bro?
Not
That's
all
hot.
superheroes wear capes, bruh.
it's 36 degrees. That's hot. And then so 2016, I remember my honors thesis basically said that like if you look at 2002 and then 2012, it's like a 10-year gap. So we should expect the next epidemic to come within, and then 2020 it came. So yeah, look, and just this is not a deep cut. The fact that like America had a playbook for a respiratory pandemic, they literally had it. Like they literally had one, and because unfortunately Donald Trump was president, they were like, "Nah, we're not gonna follow this." So they had the tools to actually tackle and combat,
And they got hit the worst.
and they because they were just made it too political. But anyway, so my relationship to science was kind of ruined. So I quit my masters, did something else.
Okay.
But yeah, my relationship with science was ruined because, so techie. So,
Get it?
nah, man.
Google.
So what it is like there's a lot of lab management, lab politics, money, funding,
Okay.
those type of things that come in. And what it should be is that like you have the university or the research laboratory, and then you have like a set goal. Like for example, we were the coronavirus lab, then that was gonna be the goal, and you then each do different aspects of the coronavirus. So for example, how do we find treatments? How do we replicate? How do we we all
Different
supposed
branches.
to do contributing, but it wasn't like that. And I'm probably being naive in saying that it should be like that, but it wasn't like that. It was like everyone's literally doing their own thing. You need to come up with how you wanna. It was a lot.
Everybody
you know.
works individually and it's not a team.
And then you're still competing with Macau also, and I'm like, what are we competing for, bro? Like for money?
We're trying to save the world.
Everybody
Owens,
wants to
man.
be that dude that
So-
the president's gonna call when there's a.
Yeah, so
That's the thing.
I just had like a bad experience with science. There's a lot of things I just don't want to get into. I just do not want to get into. And I'm better for it. I'm glad that I quit. Because also, science is not something where I can work with people, interact with people.
Yeah.
And you see me.
Oh, yeah, your
I
personality.
need
Yeah,
to
okay,
interact.
it makes sense.
So, yeah, so
you're-
even though I was good at it, like I was boss.
But you weren't thriving because you like people.
Sure, bro. The
Yeah, no.
universe had me, bro.
So now answer the question. What do you think about this COVID epidemic that we
Yeah, what's your
had?
view,
What was
like-
your do you think COVID was real to the point that the media was purporting it? Or do you think that the virus was real, but it wasn't actually
Man, they want
as
clips.
big?
Listen, I'm a scientist now.
Yeah,
I
from
just-
a, from a
No,
science-
like just
yeah, yeah.
okay. The pandemic was 100% real.
Okay,
Okay, the virus is 100% real.
Of course.
For me, like
fine.
the way that it was dealt, was actually fine. Like the speed in which we overcame the pandemic is actually great. Like it was the speed with which we
Don't you find that
overcame.
strange though, as a scientist, that the pandemic just disappeared the way it did?
So here's the thing, man. It's 2024. We have the tools, we have the collaboration, and that's the other thing is that a lot of countries, a lot of people came together for the common goal. Whereas other diseases, because it's so localized, like for example, Ebola is like specific to Africa. No one cares about Africa.
Of
I
course
said
they
it.
don't. No, you're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Until
Fact, brother,
now.
fact.
Until now.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas like flu, for example, is super profitable.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing is that like I think people conflate pharmaceutical industry with science industry.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Pharmaceutical industry is disgusting. That's
Agreed.
disgusting.
Agreed.
Like the way, for example, especially because America is like the leader of the world.
For now.
Pharmaceutical companies goes to your country and have to adhere to your country's rules. America changed the law so that they have to adhere to the pharmaceutical industry's rules.
That's crazy.
So
For example,
pharmaceutical industry kind of runs.
that's what I'm saying. So
It does.
the science and medical industry is run through the pharmaceutical industry. Big Pharma runs
Yeah.
the whole medical industry
Yeah.
in America. Whereas other countries that operate normally, they set their rules and the pharmaceutical industry need to adhere to those rules. Price, setting, all that stuff,
yeah.
research,
Okay.
like because the use of patents, all that stuff. Because the other thing is that like the scientist gets de-incentivized to do a thing if it's going to be used for profit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
for
yeah.
example, the guy that came with the polio vaccine said, nah, food tag, no profit.
Yeah.
And then polio is like
Just-
eradicated.
Just yeah, because now they can't benefit from
There's
people
actually
having
a
the
court
disease.
case happening with Pfizer about that, eh?
Yeah, bro.
Because
With
the-
Pfizer.
We'll
Pfizer.
find
That's
out
the thing, like-
now that we're in the south. It's
With Pfizer. Maar want die Pfizer, maar you see this? Or Pfizer, maar Putai, you see this? There's actually a court case that's so fucking pushed away because of how popular Pfizer is and the control they have over. Because Pfizer's not just they didn't just do the vaccination. They are more a big pharma company, bro. Like, so there was a big court case about it because there was literally proof that the vaccination, the one that Pfizer gave, and they worked with Moderna as well. This is all fact, so it can be spoken about on YouTube now because it's fact. People got cancelled off YouTube for saying this stuff, right? Before, but now that COVID doesn't really exist anymore, inverted commas, I put it in air quotes. The Pfizer's currently in court fighting because people made so much profit of Pfizer. People were told to buy shares in Pfizer before the vaccination was rolled out. And then when the vaccination was booming, people were told to cash their shares out. So they became millionaires. So, and that's not supposed to be the case. Vaccinations are supposed to be non-profit because people aren't supposed to benefit from the world being saved. So for me, like I always tell people I don't believe COVID was as big as the media purported it. It was a virus, but I mean I can say this firsthand. My mother.
But do you
No,
feel
but
like
what's the reasoning behind
look
that
at the
opinion, man?
the mass hysteria around COVID, right? So I had friends.
Mass hysteria is incorrect, but okay, continue.
no,
Okay.
let him finish.
Yeah,
let him
Yeah,
finish.
let me just
Let him finish.
I've had friends, no, that's like, oh no, COVID is killing people. People are dying every day. And I'm like, yes, that is the case. COVID was killing people. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it wasn't killing healthy people. It was killing unhealthy people, right? My mother and my father had COVID, right? And the way they say COVID's transmitted, right? Now I don't have a strong immune system. I don't. My mother and my father had COVID, right? We sat in the same car. I shared a cigarette with my mother. My wife was pregnant. My wife drank a glass of cooling from the same glass my mother drank from. Me and my wife didn't get COVID. We lived in the same house. COVID didn't spread to us. I still haven't been infected with COVID.
I got COVID like 5 times.
But he was fine.
Me
was
too.
That's I'm like. So,
But do you think?
I don't think the way that people were dying, the way like I'm not talking about South African news. I'm talking about in the world.
No, but is that just purely information or the actual virus itself?
But
Do you acknowledge that
No,
the virus
is
exists?
real.
The
No,
So the virus
the virus
is
has
real.
existed for years. Rizaan just confirmed that now. The virus exists.
But
Right.
do you think that the way you're feeling is just due to the misinformation portrayed? Because I agree that
There
within
was so
this
much misinformation around COVID that like if you look at it from the lens of like control, right? Look how they were able to just put us in our homes and just tell us to get into a space because of this virus.
But
You know,
that
there
is
were
an
countries-
effective
there was-
prevention technique, though.
but there was countries in Europe that weren't closed at all. My aunt's in Germany. Germany wasn't closed. They weren't walking around with masks. Sweden wasn't either. I had a friend in Sweden, like same thing. While we were on level 5 lockdown and America was like people were like dying like flies, my friends in Sweden and my family in Germany were like going to clubs and shit. So it's like they didn't even get the vaccine up until afterwards too. It wasn't a mandatory thing. So I'm not saying that COVID wasn't real. What I'm saying is that the way the message was purported that it's like this virus that's going to kill you if you don't take this vaccination was a problem. They were saying if you don't get vaccinated, you're going to die. That's what they were saying.
On that also, they were marking people's deaths which wasn't COVID related.
Correct.
COVID.
Yeah.
To push the numbers, right?
Push the numbers to make to
Control.
push the the hysteria within.
But that's also
society.
admin.
That's what I'm saying. And that's
like
that's-
people
that's-
in admin are not notoriously not.
but that's what
Like I
I'm saying.
mean, if realistically, if you were in that time, no one's gonna say.
but I
Here's,
mean,
here's what I have to say.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
mean-
here's what I have to say about that. Is that like we are having a conversation about population control, country government. I don't think we're in a position to have a conversation about that. Like honestly, like no, genuinely, honestly,
Okay.
we are talking about stuff that's good for the goose is good for the gander type opinion. We were talking about all the geese. How do you take care of the larger population? These are not like small you and I type of like
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
the meat you know so pop like for example like you said an appropriate means of overcoming a pandemic more than the medical intervention is the public health structure.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Isolation.
the lockdown is an effective measure used to overcome a pandemic. In the time like the OG pandemic, the plague times,
Plagues, yeah.
right? What they did was they literally
OG
moved
pandemic.
those people.
That's just an OG pandemic.
Yeah, no, the
Man,
plague.
remember Man City now.
The plague. They moved people to an island.
Yeah, no, of course.
Like, you know, like the lepers, they moved into an island so they can get quarantine. So quarantine, just for the people, it literally means 40 days. It literally just means 40 days. That's how long
shit.
you must
Whoa,
be there.
Pause. Whoa, wait, what?
Yeah,
It's in the name.
Yeah, it's
You're,
quarantine.
but
Yeah.
you see how when people told me quarantine because of COVID, I was like, you must stay home for 7 days. Quarantine is for quarter.
So that's an effective because back then OG pandemic times you didn't have vaccination, so that was the best way to sort of treat it. In Islam, if there's a plague,
Yes, you're right.
you have to sort of like leave the or no, stay in the town.
Stay, but
No one can
stay.
enter, no one
Yes.
can leave type thing.
It's a
Those are
quarantine.
effective public health measures.
Yeah, of course.
So now we can't be like, but I'm not sick, I'm not dying, I'm not this, I'm not that. Why you calling?
I'm just
Because and that's what I'm trying to tell you that like when you're making decisions for a large population,
You have to
it's
think
not
about-
not as easy
It's
as
not
like
about
I
I
wasn't
think
sick.
and I-
no, of course, and that's why I said like I don't think that for me, this is what I'm saying, like me, right? I don't think a lot of people I also chill with say the same thing. I don't think that I'm not saying the quarantine wasn't effective. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the way the media machine purported the message of coronavirus versus the fact that they were prepared for it. There was people who knew about how to fix this for so long. But COVID's been around for years. You know this.
No.
So it's like-
So So the
Or rather,
coronavirus is the
Coronavirus,
family.
yeah, but it's like
Right.
mutated and shit.
Exactly. So the particular strand or whatever variant that created the disease that is COVID, that's mutated and new.
But coronavirus is now SARS-CoV. Coronavirus is the code for
Just
it.
like
So quick question: vaccinated?
I am sir.
Vaccinated?
Yes.
Okay.
I only took
No,
one.
I'm just asking.
I took
Yeah.
one and I was like, nah, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand. There wasn't enough information on the vaccination for me to take the second dose.
So okay. Yeah, no, I don't know.
I was gonna ask you a second question now. Also.
You can actually ask me the question. Are your kids vaccinated for the MMR and stuff like that?
My kids are vaccinated for certain things.
Okay, that's
Okay.
good. Because
So-
if you are
No,
that
s-
anti-vax, then I have a
no,
problem
no,
with
I'm
you.
saying I'm not
Different, yeah.
anti-vax.
Okay.
I take vaccinations.
Because being
that have-
anti-COVID vaccines, I allow it.
No.
Allow it, fam.
Allow it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. But like for me, it's a matter of like if there's enough information on it, I'll allow it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
but
like,
that's just
at
you
that
giving
time-
yourself time to get
That's what I'm saying. Look,
The
if-
wrong
yeah.
information. Sorry. What do you
Let's
say?
just wait. Let's just wait until the wrong information is going to come. It's fine.
What I'm saying is like if you think about like the polio vaccinations you give the children and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's active like information that was researched on that
Yes.
you know. But like with COVID, the way that vaccinations were pushed so quickly is like if you take this vaccine today,
I was
tomorrow
gonna-
you won't get COVID.
That's what I was
Yeah,
going to
okay.
ask you, right?
That's
so
my thing.
you've studied the field.
Go for it.
Right?
Yeah.
How long generally does it take for a vaccination to come out after a pandemic? As
Averaging.
Okay. Nah.
It's
That
2024.
question is wrong. That question is the question is wrong. How long does a vaccination take for a disease? Because a pandemic is separate.
yeah, for a specific disease, I suppose.
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah,
For a
yeah,
specific disease,
Nice.
like 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
5 to
Wow.
10 years.
Why did the COVID vaccination come so quick?
Because it's a pandemic.
So pandemic vaccinations are
What-
a lot faster than
No,
standard disease
no, but
vaccinations.
so the point I'm trying to make is that like
That's tricky. Oh, this is hurting my brain.
no, the point I'm
That's
trying
why I'm asking because it's like this.
the-
There can be a lot of confusion around.
the point
it.
I'm trying to make is that like I appreciate you having this conversation with me because a normal disease, right, exists like in a village or a town or whatever the case may
It's
be,
around.
and the mortality rate for that is like 0, comma whatever.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And the wrong people are dying from that.
Okay.
Mm.
So there's
Yeah.
I'll say it.
Yeah.
I'll say
You know
it.
what you mean, yeah?
I'll
Yeah.
say it.
Of course.
The not important
I'll-
people
I'll
are dying
say
from
it,
it. It's like,
exactly.
yeah.
So then it follows like the procedure of we need enough funding, we need this,
Minus
and then it's the
research.
different trials, whatever.
Mm, mm.
Whereas the pandemic, because I can't say a pandemic, we literally had one.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our time
in
now.
our
You know what I'm
time.
saying?
Definitely, yeah.
Or I guess HIV AIDS.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so what was happening there is that like so much more funding, so much more hands on deck doing the research, so much more volunteers to trial.
Mm.
So it's just like there wasn't any, like there was no barriers to
Blockers.
overcome.
Okay.
It's the same way, for example, if you are convicted of like a crime, right, versus you taking a country to court.
Mm.
Your crime is like a week, maybe 2 weeks, whatever. Country to court, that's years of processing.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the difference. It just depends on who and what. Like, what is the context of it?
Mm.
So
Okay,
that's
yeah,
so
I
that's what
get
the
you.
pandemic.
No, that makes
I
sense.
get
That
you.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Mm.
There was no like underhanded vibe there. Like
Nah, I still believe it came too quick.
Mm.
I still believe it came too quick.
okay.
And I mean, a lot of people also suffered after having the vaccination as well.
Fair.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? It's like
There was never gonna be a perfect source. That's what I will
Mm.
say. Especially because this particular family of viruses has a high mutation rate.
Mm.
It's called ribosomal frame-shifting.
Whoa!
Sounds like a skinwalker. What's
So,
he
so,
talking about?
so in the DNA of or the RNA of
Wait,
the
pause.
particular viruses.
Do people that watch this show understand how intellectually
Do
accurate
you
this
even
man
know
is?
that this man knows such words?
Did you even know he's cock smart?
Untapped potential.
Aye.
No, like this is why you had to come into our show because people don't know that you guys are actually
All people know about the design, he pulls faces the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, now it's like, hey man,
There's
put some
a-
wisdom behind the faces,
Like,
my
what?
guy.
Spitting flames here. Like, whoa.
So just
Well, this is-
ribosomal frame shift.
That one.
I need the spelling for that, no?
Yeah. So just to explain. So say you get like the RNA strand, so the information for the particular virus,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Your DNA, RNA, right? So that comes in groups of 3. The codons are 3 pairs.
Okay.
So when it replicates, the amino acids are also 3, so they almost like replicate on that 3. So when you ribosomal frame shift, that 3 comes wrong. It places in between, like say 2 3s makes a 6, no? So it'll place between 2 and 5.
Yeah.
It'll
It's
place
just-
wrong.
Yeah.
So
It's
when
like
it
Legos, basically, they just
There
decide.
we
Yeah.
go.
They just decide,
And then-
I want to sit between this two
and
and,
then-
on this end
and
and
then
on the...
it cuts like that, and then the
Yeah.
mutation happens.
Jeez, okay.
And influenza is similar. RNA virus is that's similar. Like it's not ribosomal frame shift, but it's a similar thing that happens. It just cuts wrong. That's why there's so many different types of flu strands.
Yeah.
So coronavirus, like that ribosomal frame shift is hectic.
Okay.
That's
that
why we
makes
had
sense.
an alpha, beta, a omega, a
Johnny,
a lambda.
all of the minor
Sorority, all the sorority houses. Me,
Oh.
Camazon.
My life.
Stomping, yeah.
Stompie yacht.
Stompie yacht.
Extra
There's a lot
great.
now. There's a lot, yo. You see the value we bring you, yo. We should have a scientist here. Yo, like, that's crazy, though. Like, okay, fair. That was a good one. So, let's just move on here.
Yeah. Let's shift.
So,
It's Ribosomal
How-
Frame-Shift.
you know what?
Hey.
Yeah, that's good. So, what I wanted to understand about your show is, how do you profile guests? Is
We
that a
don't.
process you did before, or do you like? Because I as a person now, I look at
What were you before?
what do you
Oh, yeah.
as a person who's in the podcasting space now.
Hey,
Okay, I look at okay, what type of conversation does this content creator hold? What's their age gap? Because, like, for example, all of you are old. I'm young, but I'm 24.
Again,
So I'm
you've
just-
got
so-
3
Move
kids.
on,
bruh.
bro.
Like,
Finish your thing,
like-
bro.
Anyway,
Finish your
so
thing.
I look at the type of person that the content versus the type of person they are, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, with you guys, your content is very light, right? So ours isn't that light, right? So how do we have a conversation with you guys? It's based on, okay, we had an interaction in the past, right? I was on your show. So I was like, okay, fine. And I digest your content. I watch your show, right? So, like, I'm a fanboy still. So, how do you profile guests? Because other guests we've had on, there were a range of guests, but, like, our first big guest was Yaya Fredericks.
Yeah.
Man is wild as fuck. And he's like that off camera too.
Yeah,
That's him,
He
right?
facts.
Until this day, we still chat, and he's like, yo, bruh. And it's like, pa.
He's staying like
That's,
that.
and that's just who he is. A great
Yeah.
guy. But the way he is on camera, he is off camera. Same with Vicky. Even though, like, Vicky and me are good friends, he's the same off camera. So, like, the profiling of them was easy for me to have a conversation because I like real. That's the type of person I am. I like real. So I struggle with people that aren't real. Right?
Yeah.
That's my thing. So how do you decide your guests to come on show? Do they message you like, I do they for Barak like me? Or do you pick and choose you want to come on your show? How does that go down?
Both. So So I'll speak about it.
I'm on tea break.
The way we profile guests is mainly on the type of conversation we can have.
Okay.
Sometimes people come with different perspectives that neither of us are exposed to, and that's nice because we learn something when we're chatting to them as well. The other one is, like you said, they message us and say, "Can I be on the podcast?"
How'd you decline people?
It's
I want to know that.
So because I'm very bad at social media, the decline is automatic because I don't reply.
I didn't expect you to actually admit it, though.
So,
I was going to be like, nah, cut this out, bro.
No, we don't do that here. No?
But that's unintentional. Sometimes we message a bit later than we need to, but then we pick up the conversation there. Sometimes we always like to ask, and the question we always pose to everybody that wants to come is, "What do you want to chat about?" Because if you have an idea of what you want to chat about, we can then decide whether or not that's in line with what we want to. Then the other aspect you speak about is the realness. Is you need to understand who you are speaking for, or who you're speaking to, and what their intention is to be on the podcast.
Okay.
Because a lot of the times they
I'm
come
pretty
to
good with that line, bro.
they come to your platform wanting to spin a certain message or say a certain thing. And if you are fine with that message, it's fine to have them on the podcast because indirectly you're aligning yourself with
You
that.
align, yes.
Okay.
So it's important to understand why they actually want to be on in the first place. And sometimes people come on and they just say they just want to be on the podcast. And unfortunately,
You can't just
That's
watch
not
the
good
one,
enough,
yeah.
that's
you
not
have to
good
be
enough.
inside the
Like-
table.
like you
of
can't
course.
just come to just be on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
You can come sit on the couch there and whatever, yeah, fine, but you can't just come
No,
be
if
on
you
the
want to be
podcast.
on the podcast, watch the podcast unless you have a valid reason. I've had to decline people too because they just said I want
So how
to
did you decline?
I was just like, listen, I don't, your views don't allow it ours, so that doesn't align safe.
Okay.
Why were you so triggered?
Yeah, tell us.
Now, okay, what I do want is just to add to him is that like we have 3 types of guests, man, or at least I bucket them into 3 types of guests.
got
You
three
keep
buckets.
data. You have a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
No,
let's-
so
I do.
so there's the easy ones to recognize, the celebrity, like the one that's actually like a special guest.
Yeah.
You'll know they're a special guest because you let them do the opening.
Oh, I see you.
I just want to see how
You
this
did-
goes.
You did the opening.
No, I didn't. I was like, what club, yo? That's my jam. You know, like.
So just to see, like, for example, Lisa Gola spoke about how like this is a bunker. What's the name? Like a lot of different people say different things. The one girl, Arlene Peterson, basically called us Koppa and Choka.
Oh, my cousins, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so we just let them like that special guest. Then we have people that they do a certain thing, man. So they're gonna add value to whoever's watching this. They because that's one of the other things that we wanna show our people. You can also do this. You can also be this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like they are representative of, let's say, a message. Then we have nostalgia bait. This is like 100% my friends.
Yeah.
People that just come on for
stories,
laughs,
yeah.
for stories,
Yeah.
for tea.
Okay.
That's like Morgie, Ideal.
Yeah.
You know, those type of people that
They,
come on.
they
It's
spark
like
those memories that
Your
maybe you
Ideals
forgot.
episode was
Okay.
so real, no?
it's so real,
like
bro.
it was so real, bro.
Nostalgia
Like,
bait.
fuck,
Yeah.
like
Nostalgia
I
bait.
think that
bro.
was like your best viewed episode up until the Afrikaans lady came on. The
Carla,
Afrikaans teacher.
friend, my
Right.
friend.
But
yeah.
like up until then, it was your best one, like your best viewed episode, and then obviously Gola came and just like ping, ping, ping.
No, actually, no, it was Yasin Barnes, but. Nah,
But
sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
so-
I remember
Hey,
Yasin Barnes' story.
So that is, and again,
Yasin's
it's linked
Barnes
to
is like
that
dry
that
humor,
first
so I like
part
that.
in that what we wanted to create the platform for is to bring conversation into your space that wouldn't necessarily happen.
I will say though that like we didn't plan that. Like we didn't set out that. Like that's just what we have right now. That we can almost like blanket the different guests into
Yeah.
that particular space.
Okay, makes sense.
Makes
Yeah.
sense though, because you're going to have, for example, you get Louis Sogola that just comes on and be like, okay, cool, now that's a special guest. Because it's not
Exactly.
every day you're going to get Louis Sogola to come on. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right? And then you
That's
have
crazy.
your friends, it's going to be more real and speak about real things that because they're your friends, you have good
Correct.
conversation with them, and that makes
And
sense.
I can tell you now, the preparation for those episodes are different. That's also how I
Yeah.
know that it's a different experience. Preparation is just different. When we have a special guest, myself and JP will have 2 meetings. If it's my friend, we have no meetings.
Yeah, no, like with us it's the same. Like I think the only guest we really planned for was you.
Oh,
Like,
crazy.
Like we planned for you, and then we planned around.
To be fair, this is the first of the season though.
It's not our. We had an episode for the season already.
Okay.
Like our welcome back, whatever. But you are first guest, and you're the first time we're doing 2 guests at once. So that's like the because we you know, yeah,
You
you
know,
know,
you're making history on the podcast right now.
like we started off our last
gonna
season
say it,
with
yeah.
with Herr Fredericks. He was our first guest.
Yeah.
So you broke that ice. You guys are our first duo. So like this season we're trying to do duos, man. You know, like couples. You know what I mean?
Couple
Yeah.
therapy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yo,
How does
yo.
that make you feel?
Yo.
But
Do you have medical aid rates?
of course.
I'll shoot it to you after.
Yeah.
So like I think the planning and also because of feedback, you know, with people, but also predominantly now emo. Like
You know.
I said, look, we
SalaamGPT.
need to,
You
you know what I
know?
mean, SalaamGPT. We had to actually figure out how we're gonna guide the conversation because this is obviously natural because we've interacted before and you're
Correct.
also in the podcasting space. Whereas the next couple that may come on, they may not have been on a podcast together, maybe separately. And I was like, yo, how do I guide this?
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, pair of people.
That's fine.
Couple.
bro. But these
couple
are these are
This is a couple of friends. That's what it is, man.
couple of besties.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
the
throw a
couple of
he's gonna
besties.
throw a coupling in.
Lifelong
You know?
friends.
Yeah.
You know? So I think the planning is like I had to sit and think like how am I gonna do this now? And then I had to message Yasin about it and he was just like, yeah bruh, here's what it is. He's like the approve or decline now. Always submit things
I
to
find
you.
it's the opposite. So people that are used to this, you do less prep work for. People that are not used to it, you do more. Because you're not
structure
stuck.
and guide. You would need to structure and guide a lot more because the
Yeah.
conversation's gonna halt all the time.
So
Uh,
we had 2 guests, I think, who weren't like the best conversationalists, man. So there's a lot of dead space in the conversation because like you'll say something, but they will end it on like a note where you can't really like take it further. And so the first time it happened, I hated it. You guys, I think about it all the time.
There's only been 2 episodes where you had 2 people on though at the same
No.
time.
No.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's one person.
Oh, one person.
And then the second time it happened, I immediately realized, oh, this is happening.
Yeah.
And then he locked in. Okay, this person is not a conversationalist. Let's just go. And the episode was great.
Yeah.
Like the episode was great
Because we learned from it.
Because
that's why I think, again, as much as you're preparing, there's something that's gonna happen that
I didn't expect us to speak about COVID like we did.
Bruh, like I had 10 points. We've only covered 4 points, and it's been an hour and 9 minutes.
I told you.
What?
3 points.
3
Enough,
points.
bro.
Let's just do this, right? So then what in your you guys did how much
Yeah.
in your opinion,
Yeah.
you guys did how much episode have you done so far? How much has it been now? How much aired? 70?
70s, something like that.
Okay.
70s.
Yeah.
So out of that episodes, what was your favorite to film and what was your favorite to watch?
Oh, I like that question.
Great question.
I like that question a lot.
Can I go first?
Yeah, please.
So, again, no offense to any of the other guests that were on. Just full disclaimer, since I know I need to throw that out there. One of the best ones that I had to film was Arlene. Just because from the moment she got there, it was just vibes. And she started off great. We also had a list of what we wanted to do, but she picked up and she improved. It was like, again, nothing like what we thought the episode was going to be, but ended up just being that great. So that was my favorite one to film. The second question was?
Favorite one to watch back.
The favorite one to watch back was Yasin's episode.
Bonds.
Yeah. Because for me, I felt like that was the first, and I'll give him credit for that. He was the first celebrity that actually gave us like a chance.
That one is
Like,
the Kennel will send the voice.
Like he kind of was in the voice. Like I didn't expect someone that didn't know him at all, like no relation at all, nothing, no connection, nothing like that.
Yeah.
For him to enter into our space and be so inviting and want to talk to us and actually wanted to know us was so nice. So
nice.
and that even I rewatched it and was like, yo, this man was actually like interested in us. So that was a nice episode. And for me, an honorable mention, just personally, honorable mention is Nicholas Manuel. Because yes, because I think that was the first one where where I researched like your 10 points, I had 10 points. And almost like even like he was shocked at some of the things that we knew, and I think that was the for me personally as a podcaster, that was one of my highlights.
Yeah. And for you, Rizaan?
There's too many, bro. It's actually
Okay.
no, I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna answer.
Top 2 for you.
No, I'm definitely gonna answer. I'm just saying like there's so many, especially that falls within that category, because I'm still a fan, man. I'm actually a fan of the show. Yeah. So the episode for me that was the best to film is where JP had like best performance, which was the Nicholas Manuel episode. Yeah. JP was Sean Evans there, bro. He was hot wings, bro. He was, cause Nicholas was like, yo,
that's
how
my
does he know this? And even me, I'm like, why does he know?
That's research, bro. That was in detective mode.
That was really like that was really really cool to experience. To watch back is so like, because again I enjoy like just listening and stuff, but I think like if I ask myself which episodes have I actually like watched multiple times, it's those older ones. It's the Ideal, the Binks, those episodes.
Yeah, that era.
Dalen. Like you can like I can rewatch Dalen's one.
Facts, bro. It's so funny. It's actually it's hilarious. But I have to choose. It will be the Jesse Frankson episode. Because that was just like bar for bar hilarious from start to finish.
Yeah.
I wanna say this though. There's been episodes where I've had such an like incredible experience, but the numbers weren't as great.
Yes.
And there's two that come to mind. The one was Chelsea Kayla,
Yes,
Chelsea
yes.
Matthijs. Meeting her was like, I did not expect myself to like her the way that I did, man. Like, I really enjoyed that conversation.
Good conversation, yeah.
So that one, and then listening to the Skinnerbicker podcast is so easy, but I like the time flies because, and I'm sure this is gonna feel like that because let's just feel like we've been friends our whole life.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
it's been
how I
an hour
felt.
and 15 minutes already.
That's how. That's how. That's how I
so
felt
you know.
listening. That's how I felt listening to that episode. I was like, bro, and it's
Yeah.
because they also do podcasts.
Yes.
And those two episodes for me were just like, this is a breath of fresh air. Bro.
Yeah.
So it's not like, how can I say? Because obviously I'm a very like about the metrics person sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I
those
get
two are never gonna do the big numbers, but just like in my heart, those two have like a special place.
That's more the feeling of it rather than the numbers of it.
No,
And I mean, we
get you.
still keep Carla's episode as our
Facts.
homepage one because again, that was a nostalgia one that we all went
Nostalgia,
down
Well,
the line
that
because, like you said, you want us to name the top two or
yeah,
It's
and,
hard.
it's hard.
It's hard.
But there's literally if we go down and we think about that conversation we had, there's something each conversation, and that I can stand by. Each conversation that we've had on the podcast has affected us in some way. It also made me think about some things in ways that I didn't think about before.
Yeah.
And that I can take from every guest, and we've been privileged enough to chat to.
Yeah, you guys do guess a lot, eh?
Yeah.
I feel like we need more of the two of you alone.
Yeah.
Like that's and I'm gonna tell you why. Let me tell you why before you have a rebuttal, because I can see it coming. I can see it cooking. I find I find that the value of your podcast kind of gets lost with guest after guest. This is now feedback, right? Because when
the
I
value
watch,
of a podcast
no,
or our
of your
pod.
podcast, the value, because this conversation has been so lekker, nah? Getting to know things about you. Because prior to going on to your show, even before your show, I didn't get to know you really before. We spoke for like 10 seconds here and there. We spoke about soccer, you know, Manchester United, Liverpool, you know, little bit. But I got to know you more today than I have in your entire, up until, okay, I watched your single episodes. Those episodes I cherish the most. So for me, the personal favorite was your closing episode for the last season. Right? That one. Not because you shouted me out or anything, that's not it. But that episode was my favorite because I got to get pieces of you that I don't get through other episodes. Now, a lot of the people that I've spoken to said the same thing about us. They don't like to see us with guests all the time. Because it's our podcast, they want to know more about us. They interested in us. So like for me, my favorite episode is the one when you close the one season. And then I think my favorite one to rewatch would be Adil's episode. Because it felt so real. I felt like I was lambing there. And then I even spoke to Adil afterwards. And I said to him like, you want to stick it on our podcast too? He's like, oh, we bet, let's start. Like, it will be a vibe. So I was
Just
like,
when
cool.
you must find his haircut routine.
You know,
So
yeah, of
you
course.
must you must give him 5 business days notice.
It must be finished.
Yeah.
no,
Now his
no,
wife
no.
doesn't let him go without a fresh one.
I mean,
That's
so
quite
like
funny.
for me, if I sit and I think about it, like it's hard to maintain. But if you also look at your podcast, every episode, the guests are bringing different flavors, right? But then we don't get JP and Rizaan that often, which we get here and there. But like this was so lekker, man. Like I know, even if this episode doesn't do well, the people who does find it will enjoy this fucking conversation because they got to hear sides of you that there were little nuggets of in you. Like people knew, okay, you did accounting, you managed people. You know, people knew about your studies, you know, and the summa cum laude, and you know, the days of the dominoes. People know those things, but they didn't know you actually studied
Receipts, bro.
coronavirus and shit like that.
Summa cum laude.
That's
You
what's now.
summa cum.
Come loud here. Come loud here.
Summa cum sagje, boy.
That's because you had a guest on
Yeah.
that,
Sean,
so, yes. So I was like, when I think about it, it's like we get those nuggets of you on your show.
Summa cum laude in my house.
Someone on your couch.
So
Yeah.
and I mean, for us, thank you. I think a lot of the times we do lose that, but we also have plans to.
No, wait. Do you agree with him?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Nah, as long as you're on the same page.
No,
I disagree.
But
I hear what he's saying.
Yes.
I accept what you're saying.
I accept
of
what you're
course.
saying.
I accept what you're saying.
I just enjoy having more of you guys.
Yes.
But it's also like this conversation. bro,
I
like-
feel like that's a preference, man.
Of course. If you look at the numbers though, like, because numbers don't lie, right? Like, of course.
But also, I think again, it then gives us more reason to come on other people's podcasts.
I was about to say that now. So
That's
that's
the
the exclusive. I don't. I think he's won on other podcasts before,
It's non-existent.
but it's
now, I
non-existent
think.
anymore, right? Yeah.
No, they changed like their whole YouTube name. and
No,
everything,
no,
like, they're
it's still
non-existent.
funny that
Oh.
you said it like that.
Oh, no, they're like factually they're non-existent
They're
anymore.
non-existent, bro.
It's not
Oh,
real.
Inna
This is all a
lillahi wa
lie.
inna
It's-
Yeah,
ilayhi
that's-
raji'un.
Because I tried to find
No,
it.
that's the thing.
No, they rebranded.
They got Mandela effect.
Mandela effect.
No, wait, that's too much.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You thought it was there, it wasn't there.
I shout out the kid Thomas.
Yeah, the kid
I
Thomas
remember.
and Amir. Thank you for
No
the
way.
invite.
Thank you for having
remember
us.
watching that episode
Yeah.
once, and then when I thought about
Dat is kak lekker.
I watched it, I was like,
That
this
is
is so
the-
liquor.
that is
But then when I tried to find it again, it was gone. I was like, where did this thing
Yeah.
unplanned disappeared? But then I
Yeah.
discovered, I think I figured it out. So if I ever meet you guys, I forget your names.
Yeah.
I think there is an actual podcast that's patent and pending with our name, the Unplanned Podcast in America.
Oh.
Yes.
They're a big podcast, right?
No, they're not. I saw it. It's fine.
There's a bigger one now. They're verified.
Kak.
That's the thing.
Oh, she.
But but
Okay.
they're liberal. But I don't really watch it. But I searched the Unplanned, and
I think
that one
one
came up. Then I found the
Oh.
YouTube page. Okay, 10K subs.
Yeah.
But then when I found they don't have a Rumble page, but they have some other like a Vimeo or some shit
Okay, yeah,
that's
yeah.
got like 2 more subs.
Okay.
So it's like they speak about like
Mm.
American liberalism and you know what I mean, like you know
Yeah.
Democrats and stuff.
Mm.
You know that blue
Immediately
states,
know.
red state cuck.
Yeah.
So
There was a stage where we were going to have them on, but I think they just, like I said, that's other things.
So
going
so
on.
I don't think there's other podcasts that you've been on besides the radio, because y'all on the radio too. We can talk about that. Famous. You see, if you're on the radio, you're famous.
Yeah, no.
That's it. Discussion finished. So like this was nice to have. So now
Yeah, because I have the face for radio.
yeah, you have the face for radio. So I think it's a good thing, man. Like it's a good thing that even though like I love to have this conversation, it would be nice, and I'm sure a lot of your fans will agree. If you agree, like this video.
Hello.
I think that's actually a great take. If you feel that you'd like more individual episodes of Rizaan and myself, please comment down below.
Don't
Yeah.
comment.
Comment down
Comment
below.
other stuff.
Comment down below.
You can
Comment
like, but
other
don't
stuff.
comment.
comment down below.
Comment RIBOSOMAL FRAMESHIFT.
So the last thing, because you have a rebuttal. So do you rebuttal, and then we can move on to the closing of the show.
Okay. So, nah, man. So my rebuttal
Yeah.
is that what we set out to do is not about us.
Okay.
So it just fundamentally disagrees with who we are.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
what it is. Like, if people want to tune in to know about us, they must watch other people's podcasts and invite us on. Because we are not set up to talk about us.
Yeah.
We
That's
are
fair. It wasn't the
we
aim.
we are about you for you. That we trying to
Man, just
platform
like the
everyone
government.
else. So it's like just fundamentally that's not the, but Lyle to an extent agrees with you. Because Lyle loves when we do a solo episode. I don't know. I just like me personally. I don't have the spirit for it. But we'll try.
Yeah, just try.
We'll be doing more like individual things, just the two of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. That was never the intention.
It's not the intention. Yeah.
It was never the intention for you to go and talk about yourself and like this is us and that was more about the fact of
Or
your
even
objective
what
that you
we
wanted to
think.
achieve.
It's not about what we think. We want to know what you think, and we want to sort of
Yeah.
interact with that. We want to learn from you. That's what. Or I'm speaking for myself, but I'm pretty sure JP agrees with me.
to a certain extent.
No, I agree. No, I agree. No, I mean,
Just like us, we agree on
like
everything.
I 100% agree with what he's saying. The whole intention was not for me to be in front in the start.
Yeah, like you said.
So as far as I can keep that out of the picture, I'm happy. Bro.
Oh, that's
I'm
fair.
happy. But I think like as a consequence of the way we do things,
Yeah. People
there's
want
people like
They
Mickey
want
said,
more.
they want to
Yeah. They want
understand
more.
a bit more.
It's
But
at
I mean,
that point
but
now.
Rizan's got plans, guys. Stay tuned.
Is that an
Only
exclusive?
boys.
Only boys. Only voice content.
You can still find me on FeedFind. I'm still out there on
Crazy.
FeedFind.
Okay.
So to close off, there's a question I ask, or we ask all our guests, is in the last 5 years, if there's one thing that you could change, what would it be and how would you do it?
5 years?
Okay, let's
a
make
long
it easier.
time.
Let's talk
No,
about
no.
2020. Let's start with 2020 because obviously the pandemic had a big part to play in how we do things now.
You
So
could
let's
have
talk
lost
about
us
let's talk about
talk
that.
about it.
Let's talk about that. Since COVID started till COVID ended, since 2020 till now, if there's anything you could change, what would it be and how would you have changed it?
Anything like in terms of
Anything.
Anything
at
anything.
all.
There's
You
no,
did.
yeah.
Okay.
Even if you want to
A
change the way you
purchase
cut
that
your
you made.
hair.
Yo, I wish I had it. Yo, if I had that power, bring the hairline back.
That's it. Bro, a trip to Turkey is not that expensive, right? A trip to Turkey is not that expensive.
So I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason.
My Peru facts.
So a lot of the times, like, you fundamentally want to change something, but by changing that, you don't realize the impact that it has on you. So if I could change anything, I think for me, I would like to know, if I had the ability, if our podcast had made a difference. Because of the fact that I don't have a tangible reference for people having these conversations or entering certain spaces. So, and the only way we assess that is through numbers. But my only objective has been to bring an opinion or bring an idea to someone that didn't see it that way. And has that idea actually changed the way they thought? If I can know that happened to one person, that would be the one thing that I would like to know.
That's fair.
I'll like just to firstly echo what JP was saying about like things happen for a reason. For example, like, bro, my life low-key fell apart at the end of last year.
Okay.
Like, just so many things just went wrong. I lost people, all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And really got down in it. But I'm like, I'm grateful that like I have to start from zero. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have any regrets. It's like everything that happened was supposed to happen type thing. And I want to be like angry at the world, but I'm also like, nah, bro, that's how it's supposed to play out. You know what I'm saying? Takdir.
Exactly.
But it just to humor you with the question, I think, because my role in the podcast is I'm just a talking head, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a pretty face.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that I probably would like to have changed, is maybe like have a skill where that is maybe be like a second editor, or like maybe have like some program, maybe have like a Gen-Z website.
That's something you should do, actually.
You know what I'm
right?
saying? Like, and then we can probably streamline like gifts and prizes and stuff in some way, shape or form. But again, like, we can do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Why
like,
not?
that's what I'm saying. So like, as in like, we can do it now type thing. That's what I mean. Like, the all these things that we wish you could have done back then, we can do it now.
You're still here. You can still do it.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, that's fair.
It's never too late.
Now for me again, it's purely money based. So
Your
yeah,
shit.
let's be honest here. I
Man has 3 children.
He does.
Fair,
You know what I mean?
Fair.
One incoming show.
Yeah.
yes, I mean. So
Fair.
now you also know announcement. That's
Oh.
why the show might end because I'm having another baby. Yeah, we're out here making children, making the world fool. Hey!
Man thinks he's a gangster because he's getting more. He's having more children.
The more children you have, the better you are.
Not making
I'm
the
sorry,
normal
I'm sorry,
fools,
look
making
here.
the world fool.
Making the world fool, bro. Making the normal fool.
You need to chill out.
You know what I mean? That children are returning.
We still have to drive home, maybe.
Children are, it's a good
Speaking
return on
about
investment,
numbers,
you know.
yeah.
You raise them and then when you're old, they look after you. It
Yo,
works.
that's such a
That's so colored, bro. That's so
No, it
colored.
goes-
colored
it's
way of
not
looking at
colored. Islamically, it's a duty.
Oh wow.
Yes. It
That's
is.
a separate podcast, sir.
Yeah, just
That's
saying.
a separate
Don't
podcast.
get shocked now.
Now I'm just looking at you. I'm like, don't blame me, Salam.
I'm just saying.
So it's Islam's fault that I'm having so many children.
It's not. It's not. I love, like I have, me and my wife, we've spoken about this, we have goals.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the one thing I would change is purely monetary base is I would have invested in more crypto and earlier. because fucking I should have listened
And
to
Pfizer.
No,
And-
I don't-
Whoa.
buying stocks in companies are tricky.
Oh,
But
okay.
I should have listened to Fresh and Fit. I should have listened to Layer. They
Uh-huh.
all said buy Ethereum. I fucking didn't do it, and now people are billionaires because of it.
Okay.
And as a friend of mine, like, we're not friends anymore. Well, I don't know if we're still friends. I think he's still my friend, but he fucked off. He has now a multi-billion company in Dubai, but like he was a bra from Factoryton. Like he's like, nah, bruh, I'm gonna spend a 2K. I'm this month. So he took like a 5,000 rand and he bought like Ethereum, 5,000 rand Ethereum and a 2,000 into some other stock, some penny stock. And now it's like up here. So like during COVID, that was the best time to buy houses, to buy a lot of properties and stuff like that, because all equity was down because the world was dying. Right?
Yeah.
So the markets crashed. Same with Forex. That's the only regret I have. Because if I did do that, okay, all knows why I didn't. Because I would have probably been a different person. Because the way I view money now, because of this guy, completely different. The Mickey you guys met a year ago was very money driven. Now I'm more like, sustenance driven. It's not because of my kids. It's just like I don't have a scarcity mindset anymore.
But recession is coming soon, though, so you can plan for that.
Yeah, with BRICS taking over, I don't think we're gonna have problems.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I don't think South Africa is gonna be problematic. To be
But a
honest.
recession does happen. It's cyclical.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like, so it will happen
It will.
again.
But with all the changes happening globally,
It's
it's
bound.
not going to affect the whole world the same as
Correct.
it usually does.
True.
Because
So-
there's a lot of structure changes happening
Yes.
globally at the moment.
Bruh,
So
like BRICS is like, people don't even know the that's going on with BRICS. People don't know. Only the right people know. But it's like people don't know like how important it is to understand how like this entity that your country is a part of has a big role in the way the future of the world works.
yeah,
It's not just America versus Russia. No, bro. It's to do with world and global economy and trading. So it's like that impacts the loaf of bread you buy by the shop, my bro. And that's what, like, the only regret I have is like not investing back then. But like I said, I don't want to say it's a regret. Let me not say it like it, because regret's a bit strong. It's just I think there's a reason why I didn't, but I would have loved to.
Yeah.
So now I can invest now, like you said. We can do it tomorrow. I can now. Just cost a little bit more.
here's the thing
know?
though. If you did do that, you would have never met me.
Of course not. This podcast wouldn't have been born
This
either.
wouldn't be, they would have been sitting here.
Shit the brick.
Wow.
This is
Also,
why we're
on your note, know that your podcast has made a difference.
Yeah.
Because if he wasn't on your podcast, this
This one
podcast
was-
wouldn't have been here. And then what we spoke about earlier, our episode with what's his name?
Zach.
With Zach wouldn't have happened.
And
And
those
those
people
people
are-
weren't impacted.
So indirectly,
You see,
remember I told
see,
you
there's
on
no
your show-
regrets. Done.
Bro,
Exactly.
Full
I
stop.
told you.
exactly.
I
Level
raised you.
complete. Short.
What did I do?
retire.
Achievement unlocked. I got all my coins.
Boy,
Ding. Done.
Achievement unlocked. Yeah, fuck, that's
In the
crazy.
corner.
Safe. Safe.
So
Sorry,
yeah,
come on.
look.
And the
It's
C is
been-
for completion. So
Yeah.
Listen, that's crazy. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. Our longest episode running we've had. So, fuck, JP Rizaan, team, half of the team of Gen Z.
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming out.
Thank you
We
for having us.
appreciate
Thank you for
it.
having us.
Face of
Yeah,
Gen
boys.
Z.
The radio voices of the radio faces of
The radio face.
we appreciate you coming. We'd like to do a part 2 with you because there's so much what we need to unpack. But there will be time tomorrow.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much for
Let's
coming
circle
out.
back.
For you at home, no? Not for their fans yet. We're gonna talk to our fans first. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. I'm not gonna give all the noobs like all the links and shit. There's a link here underneath in the bio. Just click it, subscribe to everything. Klar, done. Okay, JP Rizaan, tell us where can they find you. Tell us how to subscribe. X, Y, and Z. Is there OnlyFans?
Plug.
Plug
Only
us.
boys,
Plug.
the
Like us
only
out.
boys.
Only boys.
Gen Z_pod on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as well. And then
the audio platform.
the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple, all those good things.
Can't
And I
forget
think,
about the audio listeners.
and then importantly, please do go and tell us if you want more individual episodes.
yeah, do that.
JP's excited for that.
He's like,
Because I just love Rizaan's face every time we say it.
Now-
Every time we say it, his face is like.
right, Lal, you have my number on WhatsApp. If you get it right, you must say thank you to me. No? Okay, so we'll put all the
Exact.
links in the description. Once again, guys, thank you so much for coming out.
Sure.
We
Thank you
will
for
take it
having us.
from
I appreciate
thank
you guys.
and let's talk soon again. for you at home, we'll see you next week. Safety gates.
Cheers, peeps.
Peace.